So we connected the dots, and then we told the builders, okay, then you bring it down, to this height. So we don't have to replace windows.
The next point is about the HMO officer. We had a very good time with the HMO officer.
Yeah, again, it's a matter of timing, because at the point of doing this project, we have finished several other projects according to licensing requirements. But when we started this project, there was the transitionary period in the council where they were bringing in new legislation, new licensing requirements.
So it hasn't come out yet, so it's not available on the website. But when we submitted our plans, they made us aware that there are new standards coming out, and we should build according to those new standards, which are not released yet.
Which I suppose I appreciate them telling us way ahead of the build, instead of, rather than telling us after we've built it and then they say, bam, this is a new requirement, you failed everything.
Yeah, so we were lucky that we could incorporate those changes before we have even built it. But that was now the challenge, where we were lucky that we could make those adjustments. So it basically boils down to they wanted bigger ensuite sizes. And
luckily our property is big enough to accommodate those changes.
Yeah, initially we were so happy with having large rooms, but those rooms got smaller and smaller as the ensuites got bigger and bigger. So that was a bit of a challenge of having to change those plans, which leads us then to the next challenge of, because there were so many changes from the HMO officer, and then with the structural, we had a lot of different sets of drawings, and that confused our builder a bit, because there were so
many variations.
Yeah, so we basically had one set of drawings for building control to get it signed off, one set of drawings for the planning, because we went through planning as we have mentioned before, and then one set of drawings for the HMO officer, and then you make changes, but you would have to change all of the plans at all times, which didn't always get communicated rightly to the builders. So they were working off an old set of drawings. But then we said, well, we have changed it, we have sent you the plans.
So we have done our best to send the newest plans over to our builders every time we get them. But I suppose, there is definitely an improvement on our side to manage. So better, folder management structure, and also better communication. We think we have communicated it, but then it's another matter whether they have understood it and received what we have communicated. So always double check.
So we came to that point where we went into the project, and then we see the stud walls going up, and we thought, wait a minute, that looks like the old plans. We have sent you the new plans, why haven't you changed it? And so it was just a small thing, like
the new plans just got mixed up with all the old plans, and
in the end we had to change like this stud wall a little bit here to take away half a square meter from this room and add it to that room. The ensuite needed to be bigger, so that ate into another room again. Just a lot of small things, so we were literally fighting for every millimeter to satisfy the licensing requirements and the HMO officer, but at the same time making changes that are actually possible. Like you cannot just magically create more space, you have to take it away from somewhere else. And then, because we took out so many structural elements, i.e. all the chimneys, the builder went ahead and just boards over these, taking away a couple of millimeters, which we haven't accounted for, and 10-20 millimeters over a couple of meters of length of the property. Out of a sudden you're losing 0.1, 0.2 square meter. And we were already strapped for size because of all those en-suites. So lots of small changes. We even had to take away one kitchen unit, didn't we?
Couple of kitchen units.
Yeah, I think it was one unit. So we were planning for 4 units across a wall, and it went down to 3 because the room got a bit smaller, because we changed sizes a bit here and there.
It was not ideal, but it was still within the licensing requirements.
And then also there was new drainage going in, so that was not on the plans, but the builder puts it somewhere, but then it takes away space, and we were already at the minimum. And we were lowering the floor, so now it has created a sort of a ledge, and you cannot take out those bricks. It would be very expensive to take them out. It's just millimeters here and there, which add up to, well, maybe even half a square meter, and then we're under the licensing requirements. So there was lots of value engineering going on, where we said, do we go with this and just change this stud wall to make it bigger, or do we spend the money and chisel out those bricks? Back to our sprinkler system. How easy was that to get certified by and approved?
Oh my god. So a fire sprinkler company is one party, and then we have the electricians who come in to install the fire alarm and fire panel system and doing all the final electrics, and they too are just not talking to each other, and the certs that they sign off at the end of the day. It was just all over the place, and the council was coming back to us and asking questions. So it was, yeah, another nightmare there.
Yeah, it's two reputable companies, both in their right, but having to talk to them, to each other, and having the right documentation so we can use it was a bit of a challenge to get together. But in the end, we got there, we got all the certifications. Even it meant the companies coming out again and recertify certain things.
And us having to pay extra for a day of travel for them to come out.
Yeah, but in the end, we got there, everything got signed off, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We also had an issue with our neighbor. We did not know that our neighbor is working night shifts, so she was a nurse, and yeah, working night shifts means you sleep during the day.
Yeah.
And what do? We create a lot of noise during the day and do building works. So
we have already informed the landlord to tell his tenants then that there are works carried out on our site. So he has done that, but you know, as project always come with delays, we have to explain that, oh, why hasn't it been finished yet? This is the agreed date to finish, but it's not yet. We have still some more months to go. So yeah, we needed to do some talking there.
Yeah, so we had to first inform them, but then also keep them at ease while the project took a bit longer. In the end, we got there.
Yeah, and it was also running throughout winter and spring, so that's like the rainiest period in time. And our builders were doing some works in the roof, and
just during the dormer installed.
During like Christmas period, there was some leaks coming through to the neighboring tenant, and we had the complaint right after New Year, so we really had to get our builders in to fix their side as well. So yeah, that was all the challenges there.
So it was not a serious that like they didn't call the police or anything, but they got a bit annoyed that it took so long and her working night shifts.
It took a lot of comforting them and reassuring them that, you know, we're getting to the end, just bear with us. Yeah.
Well, and as we came to the end, we thought we had a clear deadline with our builders, because towards the end it's where we take over more, because we need to get the cleaners in, then the furniture in, and the staging in, the snagging, the photographer. So we would have expected everything just done and dusted for us. But as it turns out, there were still tradespeople in the property. We had the cleaners coming in, and on 2-3 floors there were still people working, so the cleaner could only go into the 4th floor and start cleaning there, hoping that the people in the 3rd floor are done on that day so they can work their way down. And it was a bit of a mess there.
Yeah, people were just stepping over each other, and usually that's not the case. Usually you want building works to be absolutely finished on site, and builders are out of the way, and cleaners to come in so that they can finish cleaning top to bottom without, you know, stepping over other people or having, you know, dust everywhere whilst works are being done. So that's really not ideal. So yeah, it was really a tight struggle.
Well, again, in the end, we got there, even though people had to step over each other. But yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, those were basically most of our what did not go so well. In the end, it boils down to a lot of changes that had to be made, therefore a lot of delays. But we could manage to keep the costs down, even though the timeline expanded. If we were to do it again, what would we do differently?
We will be sharing our learnings in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you have any questions, just leave in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye.